Good morning, Uplift Gradus, kindergarten, first and second graders. Welcome to this week's edition of Mr. Jones's Video Music Classroom. This week we are going to continue our Read Aloud series. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the other two Read Alouds, I would suggest you do that because I think they're pretty cool. But this week we are continuing with jazz as our topic for our read alouds with our book, The Jazz of Our Street, okay? But before we get to that, let's go ahead and look over our agenda for this week. We have our mindfulness activity first. Second, we have Sol La Mi. Third, we have our rhythm cards. And fourth, we have our read aloud. So we're going to go ahead and get started with activity number one, our mindfulness activity. In this activity, we're going to do the same thing we did last week. So that is our five senses activity. So that's using our five senses of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. I almost forgot. Smelling, all five senses, as we sit quietly, but we're going to do it a little different this week. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to play a piece of music, and I want you to close your eyes and imagine you are in a different place. Okay, I want you to imagine you are standing on a street corner watching a parade go by, and this is the music that you hear. And then I want you to tell me your five senses, what you see, what you hear, touch, smell, and taste, all based on the music that you're listening to, on imagining yourself standing on that street corner, okay? So go ahead, close those eyes, get comfortable wherever you are, whether you're sitting crisscross applesauce like I am, or whether you're sitting at your table. And I'm gonna start our music. All right. Let's start with the first one. What do you hear? What is one thing you hear? I hear lots of brass instruments. Okay, let's go to the next one. See, what do you see around you as you're standing on that street corner? I see lots of people clapping and dancing. All right, what do you feel? What do you feel? I feel my body moving as I'm dancing, and I feel my feet hitting the sidewalk. Right? What about smelling? What do you smell? I smell the metallic smell of those brass instruments as they go by me. And last but not least, what do you taste? I taste fresh, open air as I'm standing on that street corner. All right, and bring it back. Open those eyes in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. So I hope you were able to really picture yourself standing on that street corner, watching that band go by, listening to those awesome sounds, really get into touch with what you were feeling using those five senses. Okay? Great job. We can mark that one off our list. Our mindfulness activity is done, and we are going on to Sol La Mi. Now, you remember the rules for this. You repeat after me unless I say sol la mi. If I say sol la mi, then you are completely level 0. Okay? My turn. Do, do, re. Re, re, mi. Mi, mi, fa. Sol, la, mi. Oh, were you level 0? Okay, thumbs up. Sol, la, sol. Sol, fa, fa. Sol, la, ti. Sol, la, mi. Oh, I almost did the wrong hand symbols that time, but I hope you stayed level 0. All right, last one, best 2 out of 3. Here we go. Do, mi, sol. Sol, fa, mi. Sol, la, mi. Ooh, I hope you stayed level 0. Give me a thumbs up if you stayed level 0. Very good. All right. We can cross that one off our list, and now we're going on to our rhythm cards. So remember, for our superhero rhythms, we say superhero names first, and then we go to tas and titis and rhythm syllables. Okay? My turn, then you repeat after me. Ready, go. Batman, Hulk, Hulk. Very good. So now let's try it on our rhythm syllables. Remember TTs and tas, all kinds of things like that. 1, 2, my turn. T, T, ta, ta. Very good. All right, let's switch around our rhythms a little bit. Okay. Now my turn first, and you repeat after me. Ready, my turn. Batman, Hulk. All right, very good. Now let's try it on rhythm syllables. My turn. Ready, go. T, T, ta. Very good. All right. Now it's your turn to try it by yourself. Let's rearrange all of our cards. Uh-oh. Batman doesn't want to stay out there, does he? All right, your turn first. Superhero names. 1, 2, your turn, go. All right, check your answer, see if you got it correct. My turn. Ready, go. Batman, Batman, Hulk. Give me a thumbs up if you got it right. Very good. Now on to our rhythm syllables. I'm looking for TTs, tas, those sorts of things. Your turn. 1, 2, your turn, syllables. All right, let's check your answer, see if you got it correct. My turn. Ready, go. T, 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 ta. Give me a thumbs up if you got it correct. Give me a thumbs up also if you remember to touch those shoulders for your rest. All right, very good. We are done with our superhero rhythms, and we are going on to our read aloud. Now, like I said, our read aloud for this week, is a really great book called The Jazz of Our Street. Now, we've been talking a lot about jazz these past few weeks. So we've talked about 3 jazz singers and jazz musicians. So see if you can remember them. The lady who scatted, Ella Fitzgerald. The lady who had a dog that was really important to her, Billie Holiday. And the man who played the trumpet and sang and had a gravelly voice kind of like this, although I don't do a really good Louis Armstrong impression. Oh, I just gave you the answer. Louis Armstrong. Very good. So now we're going to talk about how jazz is used in our community. So yes, jazz is played by lots of famous musicians like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, but jazz is also a really important part of some communities. So we're going to take a look at this book called The Jazz of Our Street. It's by Fatima Shaikh, and the illustrations, the pictures, are by E.B. Lewis. So just taking a look at the title, taking a look at the cover, what do you think this book is going to be about? Think for 10 seconds. Go. And bring it back in. So I think this book is going to be about maybe a parade. It looks like people are on the streets here out in front of houses, and it looks like these 2 children on the front are dancing, so maybe they're going to have a parade in their community. Let's find out. The Jazz of Our Street. Now, one thing to point out before we begin, this book takes place in the city of New Orleans. New Orleans is a city in Louisiana. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever been to New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans is a really, really cool city. It's got some beautiful buildings and some excellent food, but most importantly, it has really, really amazing music. So this book takes place in the city of New Orleans. So if you've been there, oh goodness. So if you've been to New Orleans, you may see some familiar looking buildings. You may hear some familiar things from our story. So make sure you are listening up, because at the end of our video, I'm going to ask you to send me a Dojo message telling me something about the book. So make sure you're listening and paying attention. The drum's big sounds say, "Come, come, come." So brother and I run from our porch to the wide morning street. There we greet our neighbors, old folks and teenagers, and fathers and mothers who dropped their pounding hammers and stopped cleaning mid-sweep to meet the jazz band that calls us with its beat. The drum's rhythms tell us we will have a parade, even though it's not a holiday. In New Orleans, and especially here in our neighborhood of Treme, we have music the way other folks talk. So where some people might gather for speeches to remember the dead, honor births and great days in history, or just celebrate as we do today, we follow a band and listen and dance in our own special way. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever been to a parade. Okay, good. So at a parade, have you ever seen a big old band come by? Typically like a marching band with some drums and some trumpets and things like that? Yeah? All right. Here are the instruments ready to play. The tuba, the trombone. Looks like the trombone is not pictured here, but that's okay. And trumpet, we nicknamed the big mouths. The saxophone, makes a squeak. The band warms up with odd jumping notes that don't seem to match, but then they mend into harmony. The band members wear serious looks on their faces, like travelers from many different parts of the world who understand only the language of sound. Each listens real hard when another has something to say, because all must play along, not just with the songs. Each must help the others weave their own musical stories into the sounds of today's parade. Just like the voices brother and I hear in the gathering crowd. How you, baby? Where your mama and them? Each person blends into our choir of greetings in her own way. See all the people there gathered, waiting for the band to start playing for the parade. But then the drum talks, the reed squawks, the trombone honks, and everyone halts at the sound of the first song beginning. Brother and I join the crowd to shout an answer, "Hey!" The band begins with a smooth sound like a baby's coo to a breeze that finds its way through the sizzling heat. Then the horns rise to a chuckle, like the laughter of kooks who stand behind screen windows, cracking crab shells for crab meat. Then the music sways like grandmothers walk, silence then heavy breath. The sound is like slippers slapping and scraping on the long gravel streets. The songs growl like mad boys who fall too hard on their beds. Then they rumble and hum like men who carry home at daybreak tunes full of memories of hard work and good times. And when these feelings push out through all the instruments at once, it's a jazz, the people around say. All brother and I know as we stand in the street is this beat has the rising and falling of lifting and calling, stamping and hauling we hear on our block every day. Then the band rings out a note that tells us soon we will begin rambling. It is our style of moving to the music. It can be funny and lively or reverent and sad. We gather in 1 second behind the band and we wait for the next part of our ceremony, the music's command. Then all instruments, bodies, and breath break open in one cheer. Yeah! The dancing begins. In the crowd, hands reach to heaven and fingers snap. Through the air, elbows swim, hips shake to the pavement, shoulders shimmy up with the melody like fish leaping from rivers. To the beat of the drums, backbones slink. That feeling is like ice water raining in 100-degree heat. The sound is like being lifted off earth and being carried far, far away. You can see the people dancing and having a good time. We sing in our minds down by the riverside while our feet join in the parade. Feeling our own shining and joy in being alive, we walk with the happy spirits of the dead, like Louis Armstrong, our musician, Marie Laveau, hairdresser and politician, and the writers Dedune, Dalcor, and Lanous. We think of so many Dramé people, both famous and not, when we pass the old cemetery gates. Ooh, I hope you caught that one name that we've heard before, Mr. Louis Armstrong. We follow their paths as we dance and walk. We shimmy, we shake like a rumbling train, remembering the times before. Past the gingerbread houses, over mud and brick sidewalks our neighbors laid. We slip down, jump around, laugh, and holler, no more. We bounce off the ground in our dance of the street. Then the bass drum reminds us, peace, peace, peace. Now the music stops, and we pause in one breath to silently recollect the reason we gathered together at all. Because the tradition of love is our mission. We remember how proud people came here from far away and long ago, and now their children and their children live in our neighborhood homes. We remember through the instruments' talk, the language of dance, and the feeling in our hearts. We remember when we form into a last circle at the end of our long walk. This ceremony of dancing to the beat of our emotions is called the second line. We have passed it down in New Orleans from parent to child and neighbor to friend for a very long time. And the spirit of memories we create moves like a volcano up and down the street. Music spills out in dancing through all the people who are caught by the second line beat. Some jump up, some go low and rock their hips to the pavement, some lie down dancing in the dust. And brother and I feel the solid earth, and the peace of heaven too are inside of us. We see the old people smile and the children skip, and the folk gone and forgotten called and remembered again. The last loose notes of the band are as ancient and familiar as the nearby babbling brook, and they sound sweet as our own names. Then we go back to our porches. The morning is over, but brother and I are feeling just fine because the band called us today, and we pranced, played, and swayed in the time-honored way in New Orleans where music found feet. We marched in Treme to the jazz of our street. So we see from this book that jazz is not just for famous musicians, for people who sing to big crowds and big theaters. Jazz started on the streets of New Orleans. So it was played by big bands just like this. And how fun. In New Orleans, they have parades without even having to have a celebration. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It doesn't have to be whatever holiday, 4th of July. They just say, hey, I woke up this morning, I want to have a brass band parade in the street. And they just go to it and everybody comes out and dances. How fun is that? So I hope you enjoyed the jazz of our street about New Orleans jazz and how popular it is in the communities there. Because, like I said, after all, that's where jazz started, right? Right in New Orleans, in Louisiana. So, now comes your turn to dojo me and name one instrument that you heard from this book. So we talked about several of our brass instruments, and we heard some brass instruments in our mindfulness activity today. So I want you to send me a dojo message with your parents' permission and name one instrument from our book today that you heard of, okay? So if you do that, then you'll be able to eat specials breakfast with us on Wednesday, and we'll be able to see your face and tell you how much we miss you and check up on you. But even if you don't get a chance to do that, still check out our virtual office hours. Come by and say hello on Monday mornings at 8:30. So again, we can see your face and we can check on how you're doing and make sure you're safe and healthy. As always, thanks for watching Uplift Gradus. And next week, we'll continue our Jazz Read Aloud series. And have a good day.